Hey guys, welcome back to the Rec Room. This week we got quite a few things going. Um, it was severe thunderstorms last night rolling through, so yeah, lack of sleep. What's sleep anyhow, right? So yeah, I got several things brewing. I'm vacuuming or stabilizing some moonstone. I got some other stuff thrown in there. I'll show you what that is, and then some other things I'm cutting and polishing and grinding and all that other fun stuff. So let's take a look at some of the stuff I'm working on. Okay, first of all, this is the stabilizing of the Wisconsin moonstone. I got some other stuff thrown in there too, if you can kind of see that crazy looking blue stuff's in there. But what basically this is been in this vacuum chamber. There's a little air pump that runs it. I'm using Cactus Juice, not sponsored by Cactus Juice, of course. So, yeah, this is the vacuum pump. See, I got it shut off. All the air is out. So I vacuumed. When you vacuum pump, you just go till you quit seeing bubbles, and it's hard to see the liquid. There you can kind of see the level of liquid in there above the stones. Keep them under liquid the whole time. You run the pressure in there till you stop seeing bubbles, and then when you stop seeing the bubbles, then you can open up the valve, let air back in here, and then once air comes back in, then the cactus juice gets sucked inside the stone, and that's kind of what we're looking for, is to fill all those crevices up with cactus juice. Some of the stuff I've been cutting this week is Marramamba. Kind of ironstone tiger eye. Comes from Australia. And yeah, you get a bunch of I don't want to say waste, but host rock. This down here is pretty plain, very solid, but this kind of mookite-y stuff up here on top is real brittle. Just crumbles away. So of course you'd have to, if you'd want to use any of this in your stones, you'd have to stabilize it first, which of course that's what I'm doing with the moonstone. But the center section, which is your, and of course the camera's having a hard time picking it up, but the center section is your tiger eye. And yeah, crazy looking stuff. All kinds of different color flashes in there. All right, here was the next piece in. And you can just see the, well, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but this is all chatoyant in here. Got this nice little mountain range stuff happening in there. And yeah, the camera just does not want to pick this up either, but yeah, this is some crazy looking stuff. Alright, here's the next piece in. I kind of move this around, the camera around, see if I can get this to focus better. But you can see all the chatoyancy in there. Like I say, this one seems to have this big kind of mountain range scene right in that band, in that thick band, so nice. And of course here's the next piece in. You can see that nice mountain range. And this is real chatoyant here. Thinner bands, harder to pick up. And then yeah, would you look at that? It's almost like three. You can see the three, this front mountain range, this next one behind it, and then one behind there. It's just a beautiful look to it. Beautiful. Alright, here's the next piece in. And you can see those wavy, real wide wavy bands. So of course this is a little bit different than, you know, regular tiger eye. With the chatoyancy has a different effect to it, but yeah, real crazy stone. Again, here's some more of that mountain rangey stuff there. There's another piece here. Again, down here you're kind of getting that mountain range, almost with a reflection of itself on like a lake or water or something. And there's some more of it. Okay, I started cutting into this kind of ugly, agate looking thing. Real brown, but where it chipped away, you could see it was kind of white in there. So I figured I would cut it open, take a look, and yeah, wow, would you look at that? Back that off a little bit. It's kind of cool. It's got them lines. See that big agate up on here. Some more agate down there, but yeah, it's got these real cool looking lines. Like some kind of doodling effect. Very interesting. Okay, here was the next piece in, and yeah, very strange. It's getting this kind of a bigger pink thing in the middle. See, it's got some good agate banding. Of course, the water's just not staying on there because of the oil from the saw. But yeah, pretty interesting. There's the next one in. And yeah, you can really see that some nice looking banding. Some different colors. Kind of losing that doodling effect. Turning more into just a regular agate. That's looking kind of interesting up there too. Alright, here's the next piece in. And oh, see a little crystal vog there. Got a rock in there. Oh, yeah, kind of opens up a little bit bigger there. Let me zoom out a little bit on here. Oh, wrong way. There we go. And this is of course the heart. This is pretty good. It's palm size anyhow. Of course, you can see that crystal vog there. Yeah, really crazy looking agate. And you can see that line running through there. That's not a fracture. Or it might have been a fracture at one time, but it's healed up. Alright, now this is getting more towards the outside. And like I say, this has got that almost like little dendrites there. Definitely a, and this is actually a lip from where the saw bumped out. But again, you know, it's showing you what you can get out of one stone. You know, you can get a couple different looks in here, you know, if you put your stone right there, you know, or right there, or right there. And then over here, you're going to get completely different looks of a stone, a cab, in from just one slab. How many different looks you can get out of just one slab. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so you take your stone. Now if you're looking at it, let me zoom in a little bit here. So if you're taking your template, you know, you can get, let me zoom in a little better on that. So you could have that for a stone, or you could have that for a stone. You could go really white like that, or, you know, just the agates in there, you could have that, or some of this you know, this crazy pattern over here. So it just shows you out of one stone all the possibilities, out of one slab, all the possibilities of how many different cabs you could make, different looking cabs you could make with just one slab. Just one slab. Alright, getting towards the outside edge. I did notice a little of that red veining in that piece. But yeah, what an interesting looking stone. And right here's getting towards the outside edge. You can see a lot more of that veining. Crazy looking agate. And then of course right off to the other side. And the outside, what it probably looked like. And then I had this little tiny little guy, but you could see it had some agate on the end. And oh yeah, that's pretty weird. There's a crocodile. Looks like he's mad. Looks like he's on the hunt, right? Another crocodile right there. And that's the back side. But yeah, mighty little piece. Okay, here's another little one. And you can tell, I shouldn't say can tell, but you can definitely see that this was some kind of a banded agate. And, oh yeah, I like the black, right? Ooh, that's some wild looking black. Really good banding in there. Almost like some parallax banding in there. Kind of see movement. But yeah, interesting little piece. And of course I did have his bigger brother. Seems to be that same black layer. Oh, getting a little brown in there too. Yeah, there you can see, kind of see the parallax look to it. Cool. Nice little, and these were like some little tiny rocks that were like just laying in a box. Not a clue where they came from, but I know where they're going. Now this next one, this is supposed to be moss agate. It had a real perplexing look on the outside. So I cut her open and it definitely looks interesting. I don't know if that's a conglomerate or not, or just, you know. And it's real, I don't know if I can get a good look at this yet here. But it's real porous. There's just tiny pits everywhere in it. So it's definitely a real, there you can kind of see it, real rough looking quartzy kind of thing. Definitely, if you do anything with this, it would need stabilization, but yeah, I don't know if I'll do anything with it. And here's a slab I kind of took, and yeah, it does have some, you know, I don't know, a little bit of interest with that little red in there. But am I going to do anything with this? No, probably not. I think the end result would not be worth going through all the steps to get this to a workable piece, right? Now here's another stone I started cutting on. This is actually a really big rock. Just this is the pointy edge. I started cutting on it, and again, kind of almost like a wonder stone, maybe. You know, with that layering in there. So yeah, that's what I might be thinking. This is more like a wonder stone. Although it does have some kind of a white agate forming in there. And then you get this big kind of grayish band forming in there. But again, nothing real great. Okay, and as you go in there further, yeah, it's kind of neat or interesting. You know, there's probably get a couple different looks out of it, but nothing, you know, kind of almost looks like a comet. So yeah. Alright, here's the next piece in. This is the last piece I cut off here. And like I say, this stone is really big, which is a bummer because it's kind of plain. And of course I'm picky. I'm picky, a lot pickier than most, so that might make, and this is really it's solid too. It's not. It's a lot harder than a Wonderstone. So it's probably not, but just the pattern of it kind of reminds me, reminiscent of a Wonderstone. But you know, yeah, that's got some kind of a neater look to it. I zoomed in a little too far, but yeah, you know. All right, here's another one I cut into. And wow, now that is definitely interesting. You can see, you know, the original layers, and then it just shattered for some event that shattered it all up, and then it filled in the voids with agatization or agate or chalcedony, and nice, right? At least I like it. All right, here's next piece in, and yeah, definitely some seismic event happened in when this thing was being made and remade. And again, some beautiful stones you could get out of here. You know, you could get something like that, or something like that, or even something totally different. And again, very hard stone. All right, here's the next one in, and yeah, it just keeps getting wilder and wilder, right? You can almost see a subduction zone where one shelf is going underneath the top shelf, like it's getting pushed together. They call that a subduction zone, just like in the earth. Crazy looking. And of course, that was the last piece I cut off here, and you can see that subduction zone is gone. I actually skipped out a slab, but this is still, and again, this is, you know, double fist size piece. But as I cut through it on this other side, and look at that, a big kind of quartzy pocket. Not really even sure what's going on in there. A few different things going on in there. A couple different minerals. But yeah, a lot of work left on that guy. Of course, this is a cab I made with that Marramamba. And you can see that that mountainy effect to it. And this side just got the crazy all around chatoyancy. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. So it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything because I'm always doing stuff here in the rock room. So if people weren't familiar, I had purchased some from an estate sale. With tax, it was like $13, and it was a lot of turquoise, really. And was it all turquoise? I don't know. I'm no turquoise expert. I'm a northern boy. We don't get our hands on much turquoise up here. It's the kind of green. There was some blue stuff in there. A lot of rock that I haven't touched yet. It looked like he had been doing some cabbing stuff, so I just finished up what he was cabbing on. And those are on my shorts, and some of them are on like TikTok and stuff like that. So, and maybe the Discord, if anybody's not familiar with the Discord. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of turquoise. I did that one tiger eye cab. I've done some other cabs too, but nothing that I had slab this week. So that's why I only had that one cab. So yeah, it's 90, if you can see in here, and it's always cooler in here. It's 80, almost 80 degrees, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, so it's already 80 degrees in the rock room. So yeah, how much work I'll be doing in here, and the floor is wet because of the condensation, so all that crap like that. So yeah, I'm still working on stuff, so hope you like what you saw. Remember, always like, subscribe, comment, anything helps. You know how YouTube is for the algorithms. And so yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and see you next week in a rock room near you.